Here we are, guys. Back for another guide. Pretty common wind here. You'll see what I'm doing with my spin. Definitely 5 or 6 on the top spin, no more than that. And other than that, I'll typically go pretty close to the max here. Perfect ball. It's clipping the rough. So that is going to add just a little bit of length to my second shot. One of the things that you do have to be just a little bit cautious of is kind of getting a bad rollout. If you do hit that fairway, there's kind of a way that it could scoot and not kind of get a checkup bounce. So if you get that scoot along, you may run through to the sand. You may want to back off to even maybe 4 top spin. But you can see all is good with the Thor's hammer. It's going to kind of make things a little bit different. You'd almost need a snow globe just to make sure that you do reach that fairway. You can see I went kind of full throttle, but I also had a small wind. In the event that I get a 16, I would have been able to back off my power. So that's one of the things that I'll do to kind of hone in on that perfect ball so I can get that perfect adjustment. But it looked like my alignment was just slightly off because I did still clip the rough. Looks like the wind may have not been quite as angled as I was hoping for. So you can see, I'm thinking 7.5 on the backspin here. And aside from that, I typically try to land, this is going to be at least 15 rings down. I don't think I can go full, but I can go probably pretty close to full. And you'll just have to judge this distance and kind of just get a feel for it, because it's going to take a lot of practice to get that dialed to where you're landing this kind of at the right depth. And it looks pretty good overall. You can see it comes in and has a chance. If you can get that spin just dialed, you do get a chance to make the albatross there. And you'll just have to kind of go for a set target. You could see kind of where half power was, but you got to keep in mind, a 14 wind versus a 16 wind, it's going to change the amount of power that you have to do. And you're going to have to just land that very consistent. It's not going to be something that's easy, but this is a very common wind. This is at least the 3rd tournament we've played with this exact or very similar wind. So certain guys, especially long-term players, you can see this is my first playthrough, but it's just like bringing up old memories. So I just kind of remember where the target needs to be and how much it's going to fly down. It's probably flying down maybe 18 rings extra there, somewhere in that effect. That Guardian is probably launching maybe about 18 rings or so extra. So you're just kind of visualizing, those rings and saying, okay, this is about where I want it to land. So this is about the power that I'm going to use. And then once you get that started to figure out, you can just kind of look at where the ring is in the fairway and be like, okay, this is typically where my power is. Also keep in mind, the farther you drive it as well, the less that it's going to overplay. So you may not even need power when you get up there closer to the bunker. So you got to keep that in mind. And, it'll be less airtime if you're not going into overpower as well. So you got to factor that in to how much power you end up adding. So the more trials that you get for that shot, the better you're going to be at it. So that's the best piece of advice that I have for you, because I've probably played that shot 20 sometimes, and I'm sure that there's people who have played it way more than I have, because I don't balk play accounts or anything. But just playing it that many times, it really kind of gives you a sense of what you're trying to do. And the more cases that you can run through in the event that you don't land it at the same spot every time, you're going to need to know how to make those subtle differences. So keep that in mind. Good luck with your rounds, guys. Take care, and I'll see you guys on future guides.